Hi, I want to start this off by sharing a story about the delivery of my first baby. I'm going to spare you all the gory details, so don't get too nervous or excited. But many years ago, when I was planning the birth of my son, I chose to have him at the hospital. I thought that it would save me money because I had great health insurance, and I thought I could still have the birth that I had planned for and worked really hard to get. In the end, I didn't save any money at all. I spent more than I would have, and my experience was that of many. I felt very overwhelmed. I felt small. I felt like my autonomy had been ripped from me. I felt very strapped down to all the monitors and wires that I had attached to me. And it was tricky to navigate all the hospital policy and the cascade of interventions that they threw at me. It doesn't have to be that way. What if I told you that birth could feel personal, it could be safe, and it could feel powerful, all without leaving your home? You just stay home and have your babies. I know that this might not be for everybody. Maybe you're never gonna have a baby. Maybe you're not sure if your partner ever will, or maybe that part of your life is behind you. But I know that a lot of you are going into healthcare professions. And as you move into those professions, there might be instances of co-care where you share spaces and share care with home birth midwives or home birth families. And in those spaces, I want to urge you to look at home birth as a safe, viable alternative to hospital birth, not some fringe, scary idea that's just for granola people. We got to look at it a little bit more differently, folks. So I want to urge you to choose home birth, whether that's for you, your partners, or choosing just to look at it as a safe option that it is. We need home birth more than ever in a world where we're going to start seeing more insurance gaps, healthcare becomes more expensive. People just tend to be happier with their home births because they're seen and they're heard and they're really valued as people in that space because it's just a little bit less busy and there's the time for it. You don't have to be attached to a million different wires and monitors all at once. You can just be a free person moving around your home, choosing to deliver your baby however you want. The need is so great right now for that kind of autonomy in so many different ways. The CBS just wrote an article recently about the cost of hospital birth. And so right now with insurance, so many people are gonna be losing insurance soon probably. They looked at how much it costs to actually have your baby without insurance in the hospital. They surveyed about 4,500 different hospitals in the area and they found that the average cost without insurance out of hospital was $21,000. It's so much money, you guys. It's who can afford that, you know what I mean? And then as hospitals become more overwhelmed as time goes on, we're seeing few providers taking care of many patients, many clients. It's no wonder that people aren't feeling seen or that they're not feeling heard. They're feeling like a chart. They're feeling like a risk that needs to be managed. And they're not feeling like a person. They're not feeling like a mother that's having her baby, maybe having her baby for the first time, you know what I mean? When we're looked at like a risk or a chart and we're not looked at like people, it's really hard to have a good experience during such a vulnerable and sort of transformative event. Luckily, there's a solution. There's an alternative to this way. Home birth offers time, it offers attention, it offers personalized and family-centered care. There's so many safety benefits, and in the end, it ends up being more affordable. In the area, for a home birth, it costs between $5,000 and $7,000, with many midwives offering sliding scale fees. And so that way, that makes it more financially accessible to families, and that shrinks those maternity deserts that we're starting to see kind of up north and in more rural areas. There's so many safety benefits. There's lower rates of unnecessary interventions, lower cesarean rates. Obviously, we don't do that at home, but every now and then we'll transfer in. Home birth rates is around, for cesarean, around less than 5%, and in the hospital, it's about 32%. That's about Coop News right now. So you're safer in this way. A lot of people are used to the constant fetal monitoring in the hospital, but at home we use something called a Doppler. And so we'll use this every 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more often sometimes, to monitor and listen to your baby's heart rate. And ACOG, the American College of Obstetric and Gynecology, says that continuous fetal monitoring is not more effective than intermittent. So this works just as fine and reduces interventions, which is really nice. What if mom hemorrhages? What if we have to deal with bleeding postpartum? Well, in the hospital, they'd use Pitocin, and so do we. We can do the same thing. We have access to that same medication. Something they also use in the hospital that we can use at home is misoprostol. Both of these things work wonderfully to stop postpartum hemorrhage. And it's the same thing you'd see in the hospital that you get at home in a more relaxed environment. It works the same way. It does just as good. You're just as safe. What if your baby comes out and doesn't want to breathe right away? In the hospital, in the event of a resuscitation, your baby would be taken away from you to the warmer to be resuscitated there. Well, at home, anybody who's at your birth is going to be certified in neonatal resuscitation, and we're good at it. Your team should always run drills and be ready for it. This is something called an ambu bag. It's a tool that we use pretty often. So in case we ever needed to help your baby breathe for a little bit, this is a really, really wonderful tool to have to keep your baby safe and to keep things running smoothly. What's really nice about this too is that I can move it anywhere I need to. If you have your baby on your couch or in your living room or on your bed or over your toilet, this can go wherever you are. And your baby can always stay with you. They're never going to be taken away from you in the event of something like that. That kind of bonding that's not delayed is also good for reducing postpartum hemorrhage as well. So all these things are not just like woo-woo and fun and nice and safe and good for you, but it's also a safety thing. So think about this. Your wife is home. She's moving around. She's in labor. The lights are low. She's got a soft playlist on. She can be wherever she wants. She can eat. She can drink. You can be with her and support her in whichever way that you want. When it's time to deliver her baby, she can choose wherever she wants to be, however she wants to be. Maybe she catches her own baby. Maybe you help catch. Maybe she wants a little help and your midwife has hands on as well. What's important is that you had options, that you had choices and it was up to you, that you had autonomy and power in that kind of instance. Now I want you to think about this. You're in the hospital. There's bright lights. Strangers have been constantly in and out of your room. You're attached to a contraction monitor on your belly, a fetal heart rate monitor on your belly. It's tight belly bands. Both have wires that attach to a machine. On your right arm is an IV that attaches via tubes to a pump. On your left arm is a blood pressure cuff that stays there, goes off every 15 minutes. It also attaches with wires to a machine. If you've had an epidural, you're attached by your back also to a pump. All these things are holding you down. It's hard to move around. It's hard to feel in your own body. When it's time to deliver your baby, a crowd of strangers comes into the room. They shine a bright light on you. It's students, it's maybe a resident, it's the provider you haven't seen in 4 hours. It's a team of respiratory therapists. It's maybe NICU team if there's been any little pink flags. It is a lot of people that you've never met before in your life coming in to share that space with you in maybe your most vulnerable moment. It can feel really overwhelming. So between the two of those, which would you choose for you? Which would you choose for somebody that you love? If you chose home, you're not alone. The CDC crunched the numbers for me, and home birth rates are up like 12% in the last 5 years. This graph here shows us that Idaho's home birth rates are like 3 times higher than the national averages as well. So this is something that we see a lot of in our area, and we have a lot of really wonderful midwives that you can reach out to so that you have access to this kind of personalized and good care. In the end, I kind of urge you to look at home birth as like the safe, empowering option that it is. It has so many benefits, like delayed cord clamping, lower rates of perinatal mortality, lower rates of unnecessary interventions or things like C-sections. It shrinks maternity care deserts. It offers you power, it offers you freedom, personalized care, and it's much more cost effective than the hospital for somebody who's uninsured, which a lot more people might be in the next couple of years. It's not just about rejecting modern medicine or the hospital or anything like that, because there's absolutely a time and place, but it is about taking back your autonomy and your power where you can for low risk birthing people. Home birth is a safe and viable and cost effective option. It's about care. It's not about control, and you should have choices that reflect dignity and respect and informed consent. It should be about you, and you should feel heard and safe and seen as a person, and home birth does all of these things while also keeping you safe. So we're all mature enough here to handle a little joke, so I'll leave you on this one. Have your babies where you make them.